can transition that now, and we're back on our YouTube channel. So be sure, if you're just listening to this, check out the video of it. You can see Niko's with his 2 gloves. If you missed out on that, I'm rocking my Gunnison High School Cowboy shirt because my parents went down for a game.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'll take advantage of my platform where I can.
That's fair.
But college football was fucking insane.
Wow, what a week. Let's put it that way. What a week.
Unfortunately I missed out. My team that I'm coaching has been playing at 11, so I miss out on the early slated games, which this week included just a little game. Oregon and Ohio State. 15 versus number 4. Pac-12, the Great White Hope, so to say, for the Pac-12 versus the Big Ten, the class of the Big Ten and Ryan Day. Did Ohio State forget that they were playing football?
Hold on, let's say one thing. The Pac-12 is back, and I want no more disrespect to this fucking team.
I'm gonna continue to disrespect.
Conference of fucking champions. Bill Walton said it best. The Conference of Champions.
UCLA had a bye this week, didn't they? I think they had a
sure
bye, so they couldn't have ruined their own. That's the thing about the Pac-12 is they do great some weeks, but then they lose their own luster because like UCLA in a normal season would beat LSU the way that they did, and then come out and get walloped by Fresno.
Whacked.
Yeah. Or something like that. But that hasn't happened so far. So I'll give the Pac-12 their credit there. But Ohio State, who's smiling? There's a couple teams that are really smiling about this. Cincinnati.
Yep.
Cincinnati's grinning.
Yep, Cincinnati's very, very happy.
Texas A&M, very happy now. Clemson. Well, Clemson kind of needs Ohio State to lose again because I think Clemson.
No. Clemson now will get, if Ohio State was a Big Ten, Clemson's automatic bid. Automatic.
No, because they would both be one-loss conference champions. And there would need to be, if there's here's where things get interesting. If the SEC championship game is between 2 undefeated teams, whoever loses that game is probably going to get the 4 bid. And if you have an undefeated Pac-12 champion, you can only have either the Big Ten or ACC champion.
But let's think about this for a second. All the talk of the SEC creating this master conference. If you're the college football committee, don't put 2 SEC teams in because then it's gonna fucking fuel the fire, right? Think about it.
But that's the thing. When you put 2 teams in, you get double the money.
But I know. But think about that for a second. If you don't have a Big Ten school in, or if you don't have a big or ACC school in, Clemson's going to go to the SEC like that. That was a terrible snap. I don't know how to fucking snap these gloves, but like that, it's like that. It's going to be that quick.
Mm-hmm.
And in the long run, people want to talk about collusion and all that shit. NCAA is the most fucking colluded thing in the world. Let's put it that way.
It's dirtier than the mob.
And putting 2 SEC teams in there after all the rumors of Clemson wanting to leave to the SEC, Oklahoma and Texas leaving, and all that, you're going to fuel the fire, right? Because then you're saying, well, the SEC is the only conference that matters. If you decide that you're going to still pick Georgia as a top 4 seed and they lose the SEC championship to Alabama over Ohio State with 1 loss Big Ten champion or 1 loss Clemson ACC champion, then all hell's going to break loose. Let's just put it that way. All hell's going to break loose.
But you're only going to get one of the 2 in because the Pac-12 champion in that scenario is undefeated. So you'd have SEC champion, Pac-12 champion.
Big 12, Oklahoma.
Big 12, yeah.
Oklahoma,
So Big 12. Did they won, right?
Yes, they killed them.
Okay. I was like,
They
wait
came
a second.
back.
Wait a second.
They
They almost lost last week. But Oklahoma most likely undefeated because they run the Big 12. Everybody else.
It's good if Alabama, Oregon, and Oklahoma win out. There's your top 3,
yeah.
And that 4th spot will be Ohio State, Clemson, and then Georgia.
Yeah, Ohio State, Clemson, or Georgia, and Georgia.
A&M, I guess.
Yeah. Right now Georgia is number 2. They're undefeated, and we're gonna get to this a little bit later too. But Florida and Alabama have a game this weekend. Which I can't remember.
Very quickly.
I can't remember the last time that the Gators and Crimson Tide had a regular season game, especially.
It's been a while, yeah. Because
they're both top 15 teams. Whoever wins this is going to be elevated to top 2 no matter what. Alabama's going to stay there.
Florida won't be top 2.
If they beat
Florida
Alabama,
will be top 4. I'll say top 4.
Okay,
they won't be top 2. They'll still put Oregon. They'll still put.
I think Florida would jump Georgia if they beat Alabama.
I don't know about that. Because Georgia plays Florida later this year, so
they do.
They'll wash that out anyways.
It'll flip flop back and forth still, but it's just a thought that I kind of.
It's just like I understand SEC probably has the best teams, but in the long scheme of things, having the Big Ten not being in the Final Four or the ACC not being in the Final Four, and you picking two SEC teams in there over one of those teams, you're basically saying fuck the rest of everyone else. We care about the South.
You're proving that the rules you set forth didn't mean shit.
So that's why you have to, with the 4-team rule, you have to fucking.
They have to pretty much all be
conference
champions
over a one-loss SEC team.
Yeah, you either have to be all conference champions or one of the conference champions has to be a 3-loss team. That's the only way. Because remember, Washington was able to get in the Pac-12 being undefeated. Remember when they beat CU in the Pac-12 championship game? They were the 4 seed that year. They lost to Alabama in the Fiesta Bowl.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So, but like you don't give teams rematches. That's my thing also. So say Alabama makes it all the way.
And that's why Texas A&M, going back to the way that things ended last season, just for an example, that's why Texas A&M didn't get a shot to be in the final.
That's what I'm saying. You do not give me Georgia and Alabama 2 games in a row. The Georgia Alabama game, or Alabama is the SEC championship. There's no shot in hell Georgia should be the Final Four team. 0. I don't care.
That's the way that it worked.
If they go undefeated, that's not a game that should happen.
That's Tua's overtime touchdown. Was they were in the SEC championship. Georgia won the SEC championship, and then Alabama was the 4 seed.
That was a terrible situation. Like it was just because Alabama. It's different because it's Alabama.
There's almost no point in discussing what's going to happen because the committee will just decide what they want to have done at the end of it, no matter what. That's how it's been because we had that situation with Alabama and Georgia. We've had situations like that in other years too. I mean, at one time there was some way that UCF was going to sneak up into the Final Four, but then it didn't happen because they just didn't. They were the conference champion, and they decided to go with a 2-loss SEC school or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. You just gotta. You are treading water. Let's put it that way. You are treading water by fucking pushing the SEC that much. I get it that Alabama and Georgia are definitely 2 of the top teams in the country. But at some point, you gotta fucking give some respect to the other teams. Yeah. There's instances where you have the Jameis Winstons of Florida State where the ACC fucking goes on, or you have the Oregons with Mariota that just shock the world. We're not gonna get that if I get fucking Alabama versus Georgia 2 times in a row. Like if Georgia, it's just everybody's gonna lose the SEC. Let's put it that way. You might as well just make no conferences and say everybody play whatever, because if you're just going to care about Alabama and Georgia and Florida and Texas A&M, just make no conferences, make conference championships no, because that's what we're talking about. Because the conference championship doesn't matter then.
Then at that point, do you make it when your bowl game for? At that point, we should make it get invited to a bowl game at the end of the season. Win your bowl game, get on like an 18.
That's what I'm saying. Make it a fucking 8-game playoff and make the bowl games more fun. The bowl season's already fantastic.
Wait a second, fun?
Bowl season's already fun, but
we're not here to have fun.
But make some of those games even worth more.
Football.
For fuck's sake, every other division has a tournament.
Oh yeah.
But one.
Division II football playoffs, Division I AA football playoffs. Those are where you see some.
I don't know how we did just one national championship game forever. I don't know how we did that.
Money.
I don't. The money, you can make a lot more money with a fucking playoff. I hate to break news to you. A fucking playoff, give some of those teams home games as playoff games. That's going to bring a lot more money in than this shit we're doing right now.
If I was in the NCAA's Good Old Boys Club, I wouldn't be sitting next to you doing this podcast right now. I'd be somewhere on a yacht enjoying some exotic Eastern European woman that I bought. That's what I would be doing if I was in that club.
I'm just going to be pissed because there's a lot of damn good teams that are losing at the beginning of the year. And it's gonna fucking bite them because they like the SEC that much.
Let's talk about bad losses because this will be a little bit more fun. Texas, are you sure you want to move to the SEC?
Oh my god.
Are you sure?
They were a -8 dog, by the way.
Against Arkansas?
Yeah, they were the favorite. They were the favorite. -8 favorite.
Yeah.
They got their asses whooped. Oh my God.
And Arkansas sucks dicks in the SEC.
Fuck, Arkansas is middle of the road.
That's putting it generously. Arkansas is not middle of the road.
They're
Arkansas is a cul-de-sac.
They're the back end of the middle of the road.
Yeah, Arkansas is the cul-de-sac that you can get on
On the straight road from, but they kind of just hang out by themselves on the edge, just kind of hanging out there.
What? They got their asses whooped, and they were at home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's embarrassing.
No, they went to Arkansas.
Oh yeah,
They were going to try and go into Arkansas,
right,
prove, you guys think that we can't compete with the middle of the SEC? Texas is not back.
And I know this is fighting against the SEC shouldn't get 2 bids, but I don't give a fuck. I still think the SEC shouldn't get 2 bids, even if the middle of the pack teams, quote unquote middle of the pack teams, are whooping the Big 12 teams. But like,
Well, no,
Texas.
I think
Texas. Look, Texas.
are they ruining? Because USC also had a shitty loss. They lost
they
to
should've lost,
Stanford. Stanford sucks. That's it. Their
Coach
coach is
lost to
going
the
to.
FCS team. Let's not forget about that.
Yes.
In week 1. And
Yeah, and their coach is now going to have a job for another year because he beat USC. So David Shaw, I think, is the name of the coach. But are they ruining the luster of that 2005 Rose Bowl game? Because think about it.
No.
That was Vince
No,
Young, Matt Leinart.
They're not. It's because the fucking talent was on the field. They're not. It's Vince Young versus Reggie Bush.
We're such a
Still-
far cry away from that. It's been 16 years, and neither of those schools have been close.
I know we still talk, but that game is that historic.
It is.
So that
I think it's the greatest. I don't know. It's one of the greatest.
top 5.
Because that
Georgia,
the Georgia Oklahoma Rose Bowl
Is still
that
going to
game was,
be
yeah,
up there for me. And then honestly, UCF when they beat Auburn was
fantastic.
a game that I watched all the way.
The one thing Texas has going for them is that they live rent free in everybody's heads. On the fucking first row,
Texas,
in the first row at the CU Texas A&M game in Denver, Colorado, there was guys wearing shirts that with the horns down. In the like a Pac-12 school against an SEC school in Colorado, the guys wearing a shirt not back with horns down.
They aren't.
That's the only thing they got going for them. Is that they live rent free.
He wasn't lying.
Like he's not lying, but they live rent free because everyone loves to shit on them, and everyone loves to think about Texas because it's Texas. And I think we gotta stop thinking about Texas because we are going to get into a situation where Texas is right up there with Vanderbilt. Fucking
It's
shit.
exactly what Texas wants. That's the thing. Texas, they're the girl who had the attention in high school, and she still knows what to say to get the attention. But she's definitely not as pretty as she was in high school.
I mean, maybe Arkansas is good.
No.
I mean, like decent.
They might win 2 games in the SEC.
Yeah, when does Oklahoma play Texas? Is that the last game of the year?
No, it's somewhere. It's in the middle of the season.
Oh, I can't
Normally,
wait for that. Let's
like
go
late
down.
September, early October.
Oklahoma just loves that Texas fucking sucks. They love it. They really do.
They are reveling in
They
it,
are
yeah.
reveling in that Red River rivalry. What used to be one of the best rivalries in college football now is a fucking walkover.
The game last year was a tight game, but that was because it was Ellinger versus Rattler. So
and Rattler's
exciting
first year,
quarterbacks.
yeah.
But the other games that we should talk about, Texas A&M, did they forget to play?
Dude, how about my boss? Minus 17.5, lock of the fucking week. I hammered the hell out of that.
Yeah, you
I
got a
hope
lot of-
everyone
you won a
listening
lot of
to
money
that
on
too.
that.
I won a lot of money on that. I knew it was going
I
to
thought
happen.
you were out of your gut.
See, you almost won the game.
I know.
We almost won.
Well, I didn't think that they would be able to keep it within 20 because they only scored 35 on Northern Colorado.
And they
did it. Honestly, their offense looked like garbage.
Oh,
Hot
garbage. The CU didn't get in the red zone again after they got to the 2-yard line and went for a 4th down and lost it. And they lost by 3 points. Think about that for a second. Look, don't get me wrong. Texas A&M lost their quarterback first or second drive of the game. But this is still an SEC school. Top 5 team in the country. You can't beat a non-ranked Pac-12 school.
They should have been able to beat Colorado with the points they score on defense. They should have
Yeah.
their defense should have been able to beat CU talent-wise, looking at the roster.
Like fuck.
No
Like,
offense to CU, and Van Diest had a couple tackles, and
Dimitri's catching
Dimitri had a
punch,
couple catches. But I wanted to give a shout out to that linebacker. What's his?
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
the
his
neck
name
roll,
here.
53.
Yeah.
That dude fucking, I don't know who you're talking about. But the
Here we
dude,
go.
The dude is the epitome of football.
Yes, Nate Landman.
Yeah,
Nate Landman.
He's
He
got
is
the
a
neck
senior.
roll, fucking.
He had 10
rolled up.
tackles.
Oh man.
10 solo tackles.
The dude was a dog.
He is. He was all over.
Look, CU, like, they are on the right path. If it wasn't for Mel Tucker and that fuckbag going to Michigan State, this team could be the Pac-12 title contender. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to say they are now.
2018 was the last time they won the South.
And they got a chance maybe now this year to go to the Pac-12 because if they can play teams like they did against Texas A&M, they can make some teams' life hell.
And hopefully you took my over with 3.5 wins on the Buffs because that's like plus 300.
Yeah, like it's the Buffs have a good shot at doing some things, but this is a blaring obvious that Texas A&M is not a top 4 team. Put it that way. I'm very happy this team was in the top 4 last year, and Texas A&M is a fraud. Let's put it that way. You don't have Johnny Manziel, Mike Evans out there anymore. But I like to break the news.
Kellen Mond was pretty damn good last year.
Pretty damn good, but
Spiller's pretty good. He's the one who caught the touchdown pass to win the game.
he's gonna be a good running back at the next level. But like this Texas A&M, you're not back either. But Texas is back, but neither are you.
The last game before we talk a little bit about the rankings, then we'll get to a break. We're going a little bit long on the first half. There was a lot of stuff to talk about. The Cy-Hawk Trophy game. It was. Hopefully you listened to me and took the under because I think we talked about it. It wasn't one of my beats, but we talked about that. Hopefully you listened to me and picked Iowa plus 165 money line because I've hit that 2 weeks in a row now. My money line underdog that I picked, I hit 2 weeks in a row.
I won more money. I took plus 4.5.
Well,
more money, which is even more money. But still, yeah, I took your beat on that. I was good. I won't say that Iowa State is bad. Iowa's defense is fucking maybe the best in the country.
Because they made Michael Penix look like Michael Penix Jr. was having a offensive player of the Big Ten type of campaign last year, and then he comes out in week 1 this season and looks absolutely lost.
They've had 3 defensive touchdowns.
Yeah.
3 defensive touchdowns in 2 weeks.
Well, Brock Purdy, he's a guy that has won bowl games for Iowa State and kept them in. He was the starter for the Cyclones in a bowl game as a freshman in the Alamo Bowl and went toe-to-toe with the team that he was playing there. This is a guy who's played tons of football, and Iowa
State is no slouch, but Iowa, we got to start talking about them being Big Ten champions.
Ohio State to the conference championship.
This team legit has a good chance, I think, of the Final Four. I'm serious because this defense is that good.
If they beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, they'll be in the Final Four.
This defense is that good.
Yeah. So that was it was a great game. It was 27-17. The Hawkeyes were in it till the end. It'll be interesting. Matt Campbell's going to need to get something going. I think he's a good enough coach to figure it out, but it's going to kind of come down to him and how he's able to rally his team because that's a tough loss. I mean, at home against your in-state rival, the game that's been very close the last few years, but this is the year that you're supposed to be ahead of Iowa. Everybody was. This is the year. When people were predicting Iowa State to win the Big 12. You got to think about it this way: if they won the Big 12, if they just won the Big 12 at all, so if everybody sucked and they had to win 6 games to win it, it's the best season that they've had in school history. They've never won the conference.
There's 2 teams that have never had. I saw this stat. It's crazy. 2 teams in the Power 5 conferences that have never had a first-round draft pick: Iowa State and Indiana. Every other team has had a first-round draft pick. So that's kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, Iowa is what Texas thinks they could be. Let's put it that way.
Shout out Alex Padilla, former teammate of ours, backup quarterback there.
He played against Indiana too. Yeah. Played pretty well. But
his dad's a listener, by the way. He told my dad.
Iowa's some dogs. Mm-hmm. Iowa has some dogs, and like I said, this defense has the possibility to win them, get them into a 5-4. Okay. I don't. The main thing is wild because I don't know what they're ranked. Oh, they're 5 now. But literally, this defense has that good.
Yeah. So let's talk about the rankings. Obviously, Alabama stays put. Georgia moves up to number 2 after.
Are you sure they were not number 3 last week or number 2 last week? Because I think they moved to number 2 because Oklahoma.
They moved up to number 2.
Okay.
Because of Ohio State's loss and Oklahoma didn't look good in their win against Tulane. Oklahoma is 3, Oregon 4, Iowa's number 5, and then Clemson stayed at 6. Oregon moved up 8 spots with their win over Ohio State.
Why the fuck not? You win that, go into Ohio State and do that?
That's just a lot more respect than any other school in the Pac-12 gets when it comes to rankings.
Yeah, I love it.
That's all I'm saying.
Pac-12
but then Iowa also moves up 5 after they beat number 9. It was a 9-10 matchup going into the weekend, so they move up 5 to number 5. And then Clemson stays put at 6. Clemson's got to be very confident is they got an ACC schedule coming up. That's what. Yes, worry about the Tigers. DJ Uiagalelei didn't look good against Florida State. They bounced back. It was a gimme game that they have, but he's gonna be better. And all they have to do now is just win a very soft ACC schedule and win the ACC championship, and you're gonna be back in the playoff
contention. Yeah, they're gonna need some things to happen though, because
you gotta stay. You can't lose another game. You got no room for error at this point, and you gotta stay around 6. You're 6-5. You'll be in a good shot of making the final.
They don't have the Trevor Lawrence factor at the top. You think about it. The reason why Clemson was always a top 4 is because of the Trevor Lawrence factor. You don't have that anymore. Like your
R.I.P. his perfect regular season record.
That was also funny, but yeah, they don't have the Trevor Lawrence factor where, well, if this team loses one game, they're still a Final Four team. I don't think they are.
Mm-hmm. One other thing that I saw with the rankings, and then we'll get into the break here, but Texas A&M dropped 2 spots after beating CU, so I kind of wanted to bring that up because that shows the lack of respect that CU garners. When I think CU is a good team and they should have been able to play A&M tough, but that win was nothing in the eyes of the voters, and the voters actually moved Texas A&M down after.
I mean, you lose you're number 5 team in the country. They didn't play like it. They moved Oklahoma down for that reason too. Like that's what happens when you beat unranked teams, by 3 points. That's just the fact of the matter it is.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens. All right, we're going to get into the break, and when we come back, we'll finish up the episode with our segments and talk about some interesting stories and our pick 'em. We got a lot of stuff still to cover, but that'll be coming up here on the far end of the bench with Jimmy Pilato and Nico Bryant.